is Antic, the Atari Days podcast.
Companies were just sending me games to review there at the end, so I was just getting buried in games.
This is Antic, the Atari 8-Bit podcast. I'm Kevin Savitz. Steve Panak was a prolific writer of Atari computer game reviews. He wrote the Panak Strikes column in A.N.A.L.O.G computing magazine and wrote reviews for Antic magazine and A.N.T.Log magazine as well. This interview took place on November 28, 2016.
Well, I bought an Atari 800 back when they were just came out. It cost $1,200 for it. I know I had to take a loan, mainly just to learn to play with computers and the whatnot. And then I was going to undergrad. I was undergrad then. I think I was working on business degree then, I think. And then I don't know, just played with it. I had a couple games and learned programming and stuff like that with it, I guess. You know, while I was going to school.
Sure.
And college.
You were studying business, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you eventually became an attorney, is that right?
Well, yeah. Once I got done undergrad, I went to law school and finished that up in 85, 86, somewhere in there.
All right. So sounds like you were doing all that simultaneously with being a freelance writer for the Atari magazine.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know when I started writing. Probably might have been 82. I don't know. I can't say for sure. I was going pretty good by the time I was in law school, though.
Yeah.
So
nice. So was it a hobby? I mean, I know you made money from the articles, but did you consider it a hobby, or was it a part of your income? You know, how
well, it was probably both.
Yeah.
It was, more hobby. I mean, it paid. You know, back then, I think we were only paying a couple $100 for our rent. You know, then apartment, and I think I was making about that much every month writing. So you know, it was decent money.
Cool.
You know, it didn't take a lot. It didn't take a lot of effort once I got going, and you know, I guess got established or whatever. You know.
Right. All right, so you had this Atari, and you're playing some games and doing some basic programming, it sounds like. So at what point, how did you start writing? At what point did you start writing for the magazines?
I'm sure I wrote. I probably wrote some and just submitted submitted reviews, and you know, they started getting picked up, and then you know, eventually, probably I think mainly because I was pretty reliable, would turn in product every month or whatnot. You know, I just was getting more and more. You know, I went from writing one article a month, paid $50 or $60, to writing a whole column, which was a couple hundred, I think, or so, something like that. You know, I can't remember for sure. It was a long time ago.
Sure.
And then I bought an ST. You know, when those came out, so I could write for the Log. And I think I wrote a couple. I had an Amiga too. I wrote a little bit for Amiga. I forgot what Commodore magazine. I knew I had an Amiga at one time too. And then as I started working as an attorney, I just didn't have time to do that so much anymore. You know, it's not so much the writing as the playing with the games and the whatnot.
Sure. Were you reviewed, I mean, mainly game reviews seem to be your thing.
Yeah.
You reviewed a ton of games. Were you assigned what you were going to review, or did you just pick it? How did that work?
No, not really. How was it working? I mean, I did a number of different ways. First, I'd buy the games that I liked and then try to submit reviews. And then once those were getting picked up, then I worked with a couple of computer stores that would loan me games to play with and write about if I gave them a plug in the magazine, which I did. I think I might have done that for the guy in Niles. Niles, Ohio. I can't remember for sure. I know I'd worked with a place in Barberton near Akron. That's where I was going to law school. And I know I worked with him for a couple years at least. So I'd pick up whatever number of games, might be 3 or 4 games for a few weeks, play with them and the whatnot, and then then took them back to him and wrote the articles. So I can't really remember. I think by that time I think I was really the only one doing it to a large degree, so it didn't matter what there wasn't any conflict. Because I was that was for A.N.A.L.O.G, for A.N.A.L.O.G and ST-Log. I think I was doing the majority of the games, so there wasn't really much conflict. And then I think Antic might have been one I wrote for. That one was more on spec. And I think I talked to the guy that ran that once or twice, but it was mainly ST-Log and A.N.A.L.O.G.
Did you ever get feedback that you remember from publishers, maybe perhaps complaining about a negative review, or from readers saying anything from anybody, or was it just putting it out into the ether?
Once in a while, because back then there wasn't any email or anything. I typed them up and I submitted them on a diskette. I know that, at least at one point in time we were doing that. And I think I near the last few years I was going to the what's it called in Chicago, CES show. And I think I ran into a couple of people there that I wasn't real good on their reviews. They were more or less, okay. I think one guy wrote something about a business program, and he was a little upset. But I mean, you can't be running a business program against. Then it was Lotus 1-2-3. When you got 12 5-inch floppies, you're always flopping in and out. It just wasn't. It wasn't a practical setup for the for business software. But he thought that was a bad thing to do. He thought the Atari would be a business machine, and obviously that wasn't really the correct analysis of the situation. But I think I only did 1 or 2 non-game software. I remember someone sent me a big accounting package, but it was just too. The machine, AT didn't. I mean, it wasn't even AT. It was running on the 800. It didn't have enough power to, to do stuff. Even what a Lotus would do back then.
Right.
So, I think so I never really got any real bad stuff. I don't think.
Did you? I found you wrote one article where you're talking about piracy. And about copy protection specifically. And
okay.
At this point, you were talking about how copy protection was starting to transition from actual disk protection to off-disk protection. Like you might have to type in a word from the manual or something like that. And I just thought it was kind of this one article was an interesting piece in time where companies were trying to figure out how to protect themselves. And wondering if you had any thoughts on that now.
Geez, I don't even remember that. I think I can't remember if the Infocom games were doing that. They had a lot of packaging was real elaborate. I don't know if it still is because I don't really play with the games too much. It doesn't seem like they really are like some of the stuff we were getting back there especially from Infocom, and I can't remember. I don't remember if anyone else had the real elaborate packaging. So.
That was probably the most elaborate. Infocom always came with the feelies and maps and things to hold on to and things like that. Yeah. In the September 1988 issue, your bio said Steve is still searching for the perfect game, and I'm wondering if you ever found the perfect game or what that would be for you.
I'm not sure I wrote that, so that's because a lot of times that stuff was just added by the editor, the guy that ran the magazine. No, I don't play them much anymore. I play pinball when I'm out in Vegas to the pinball museum out there, and I'm trying to think. I mean, I've got in my house. I've got a Missile Command, an Asteroid Centipede, a bunch of the older coin-op games, but I don't really play anything on the computer. My kids do. It's all for better or for worse. It's all kind of rehashed. I mean, the last thing that was like new was Doom, and when was that?
Right. Yeah.
Early '90s, maybe. I mean, when the first first-person perspective shooter game. I remember I played that because we had it running at work a bit. Because a buddy of mine worked in the data area there, and he somehow, I don't know how he had it. I think he had it running at work somehow, though. I seem to remember playing or him doing something there at work. I played with it a bit, but just sort of, like I said, they're all kind of the same. About the extent I see now is when Conan O'Brien does his Clueless Gamer bit. That's where I see what games there are, and my kid still plays it somewhat, not as much as he used to.
Yeah.
So.
Do you still have your Atari?
No, I sold. I'm pretty sure I sold it on eBay. I know I sold the ST and the Amiga on eBay because they were just sitting collecting dust. So.
Sure.
And let's see. Yeah, I know I sold the games out quite a while ago too because I just had so many. Because what was happening at the end was companies were just sending me games to review there at the end. So I was just getting buried in games. So I'd play them and then pick which ones I'd review and the whatnot. So because I didn't end up reviewing everything that I ended up getting in because it was just it was kind of pretty good. I'd say depending on the time of year, I could get 10 in a month or something.
Wow.
Yeah. Always, and some I'd carry over, I'm sure, to the next month or the whatnot. So I was doing about 5. I think in my column I was doing about 5 a month. Then I might do another one for A.N.A.L.O.G or for Antic or something else. But then I can't remember. It was a while ago though. I just decided these are all sitting around. Let's see if someone on eBay wants them. And I think I got $9 each or something for the a lot of the Infocom, which had all the I'm sure it was a collector or something. It had all the materials intact and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure they had a machine to play it on. a lot of those were the 5-inch floppies. I know later on I had some in the ST, the smaller 3-inch floppies.
Mm-hmm.
But those are all. But I got rid of them all. I played poker. I played poker online for a long time, but then they took that away from us. So.
Yeah.
That's the last game I really was playing a lot.
So what do you do today?
I teach physics now in high school and practice law on the side, and that's about it. Mainly so I can have more free time.
Mm-hmm.
So I get summers off to travel and whatnot. And winters I'm not working 60 hours a week, so it's preferable.
Sure. Awesome. What haven't I asked you about the Atari days that I should have? I feel like you have a story or something in you that...
I don't know. I mean, I think the main thing is that, thinking back how much these things cost. I mean, I know. I'm pretty sure I paid $1,000 or so for the ST then when I got that. And I think I did for the Amiga. And now you're getting, what are you getting? I'm getting a laptop now for $100 or something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, and they didn't do a lot. What was it? I can't remember what the 5-inch floppy hold. I can't remember what.
It was 90K. 90K.
Is that all? Oh, yeah. I mean, these games were running on nothing. Because what did the 800 have? 48K of memory in it, maybe? Is that probably what it had? I know I had all the little. You had these stupid card things with memory. Maybe each one was 8K. I can't remember. You opened up the thing and you put in these. You had 2 slots for games. I remember. One slot would be a game, and I think a programming language could go in a slot.
Yeah. Yeah, there were 3 slots that could hold 16K each, and then the 4th slot
was 16, so it went to 48 then.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because I know I bought mine with all the memory in it. Wrote a Monopoly game once for it, and didn't do much with that. So that's how I learned BASIC. Because they didn't really in college they didn't have much in the way of programming languages or anything back there in the early 1980, 1981. And I took something called Watt5, which was I think an offshoot of Fortran or something, which had all the basic if-then-else and, I mean, it's just like a basic, really. But I had to do it with punched index cards back then, though, which was really old school. Then when I got to the bank, I was in data then, too, so we had the whole punch card nonsense there for running the check sorters and all that stuff. You had to enter in hexadecimal codes into little dial things, all sorts of nonsense you had to do back then. I think on the Atari. I don't know. I mean, it was a fun machine to have. I mean, I don't know. It was a fun time, but now they do so much more, I guess.
Sure. Yeah.
My memory's pretty bad. It's 30 years ago or more.
I get that answer a lot. I've done a lot of these interviews, and yeah. All right, I think this will be my last question. The people who listen to this podcast, some of them still have Atari computers and play games on them. So if you could send a message to those people who are still playing with Atari machines today, what would you tell them?
Oh, well, have fun. I mean, they were good when we had them. I mean, I guess keep the flame alive. I guess I don't know. It's getting pretty old. The ST was good. They had some good games on the ST. I remember near the end. As far as graphics were halfway decent. On the old 800, you didn't have too much, but they could do. I can't remember. There were a couple of games that were really pretty impressive. Some of the ones that were sort of like a Donkey Kong game that you could design your own. I really liked those. That you could, design your own little ladder setup and everything. Gosh, I can't remember the name of the. I met the guy that made that game.
You might be thinking of Lode Runner.
Thought that was something we never really saw before. Now it's nice. I assume it's in every game now.
Yeah. You might be thinking of the game Lode Runner.
Oh yeah, I played that one some. Did that have one where you could make your own stuff too? In
yeah,
it did. I remember Lode Runner. We played that one a lot. I don't know if that was the one where you could make your own ones though. That didn't ring the bell.
It did have a level builder. There probably were other games, but that's kind of the one that popped to mind for me.
Yeah, I know we played that. I know we played that one a lot. Then my kids, I had kids. They weren't. I can't remember when I quit writing for these. Can't really remember. Probably, 89, probably early 90s, I would say. Because I know 89 I went to a Consumer Electronics show. I can't remember if Infocom was still in business then. Those were some of my favorite games. The Infocom games were really, really cool, but then obviously today's kids probably aren't going to sit and read.
yeah. For
whatever it's worth. But we used to play those all the time, and trade them and whatnot. Once you got through them, then they were pretty much it. Those were real clever.
Yeah.
They used to have the really good shows too. They used to rent out the museum at the Field Museum at Chicago and have that all of Infocom for. That was before Activision bought them, I think. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And then they'd have the whole museum. They'd have scavenger hunts, and they had Second City TV Troop in there once.
Oh, neat! I hadn't heard about that. That's cool.
Yeah, they always had really, really nice little parties, I guess, or the whatnot that you'd go into. They fed you, and I can't remember much else. They had band. I know they had a jazz band in there. I like that though. Going to the museum, and there was really no one there, just at night. And
yeah,
at one time there was a scavenger hunt. We had to find certain things or something. So as far as they had the best. What would you say? Public relations, I guess. They were really popular back then. And those things sold for, God, what they selling for? $39 to $79 each, I think.
Yeah.
Which was real money back then. I mean, $79 was half my rent payment.
And those games have hold up. I mean, the graphics are as good as they ever were, and.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but the language recognition probably isn't what we got today. I know it was. I can't remember what it would always tell you when it typed words that you wouldn't know or something. You'd always have to fumble around and try to find what word would work and the whatnot. But
yeah,
those were good games.
Yeah.
Like I said, the rest of them all just kind of blur together. There's just so many because I must have done it for. I think I did 5. I bet I probably did at least 5 years. With so what I do a year. I think they were monthly then.
Yeah, they were monthly. And if you did it for 5 years, and
yes, that's 60 games a year. That's 300 games.
Mm-hmm.
I can easily see me going through that. There are a lot of shelves full of them.
Cool. Nice.
Wish I could remember more for you. Sorry, it was a long time ago.
I'm happy to get to talk to you. Thank you for your time today, Steve.
Oh, no problem. Take care.
If you enjoy these interviews and would like to contribute something, I encourage you instead to donate to one of our favorite organizations, the Internet Archive, at archive.org. The Internet Archive is a nonprofit digital library with the stated mission of universal access to all knowledge. They've done incredible things to preserve computer history, including hosting thousands of programs in an in-browser Atari emulator, creating the Wayback Machine, and offering full-page scans of countless Atari computer books and magazines. Make your tax-deductible contribution at archive.org/donate.